If we look again at this nice little collection of sayings of Friedrich Nietzsche, they're useful to us because they're all culled from the Oscar Levy translation of Nietzsche's works, which is the one we favour and work from. If we look at the section there on politics, the first aphorism there is, "Only those who stand outside the political instincts know what they want from the state." This is from a preface to an unwritten book called The Greek State, and it's in the volume called Early Greek Philosophy. It's an early piece of writing by Nietzsche. So if we look at the aphorism once more, only those who stand outside the political instincts know what they want from the state. So if we, as we often should with an aphorism, just reverse it slightly to try and bring out the sense, only those who stand inside the political instincts know what they want from the state. So if we take the opposite meaning, and we see that the crucial sense here is standing outside or standing inside if we reverse it. So he's not, as we might think at first blush, suggesting rather paradoxically that only those who lack the political instincts know what they want from the state. That would be a paradox and rather inexplicable. Surely those who have political instincts or are politically aware or politically informed, they are the ones who know what they want from the state most. But of course, he's not actually suggesting he's not suggesting that the politically naive or the politically ignorant know what they want from the state. He's saying those who stand outside the political instincts know what they want from the state. So therefore he's suggesting some kind of objectivity. And if we look at the paragraph as a whole from where the aphorism is culled, what he is suggesting here goes back to our masking, what we talked about before, of how Nietzsche kind of masks many of his outright meanings. Because he says elsewhere in the paragraph, but relating to the same meaning, he says, those who by birth, as it were, stand outside the political instincts. Those who by birth. Now he either means here those who were not born in the state, or he means those who are of foreign birth, or else whose parents were or whose ancestors were of foreign birth. In other words, he's talking about what we would call today migrants, and what they would have called in Nietzsche's day aliens. And of course, we know that the biggest question, the biggest alien question in Nietzsche's time in Germany was that of the Jewish minority. So in other words, the Jews, and they're not mentioned in this, of course, are those who stand outside the political instincts because they are aliens to the state. And therefore he contends, and I think it is quite blatantly true, that those who have that sense of removal, objectivity, whether they are what we call today minorities or aliens in the past, they have that objectivity that allows them to know what they want from the state. And this is how minorities, whether they be Jewish of old, or black or Asian, or religious minorities, or gender minorities, sexual minorities, whatever they be, because they therefore stand outside the political instincts of the state. In other words, they are not the indigenous. The indigenous people are those who stand inside the political instincts of the state. The minorities, the outsiders, the ethnics, and all the rest, the aliens, all those stand outside the political instincts of the state because they are outsiders. So therefore, these groups always know what they want from the state, and this is how they are always able to subvert the state and get what they want from the state. So in a sense, this mitigates against the conspiracy notion that somehow the conspiracy is happening and it's being masterminded from above and all the rest. And while I don't completely reject that, we can see that the state itself creates this dynamism where those who are outside the state, and the state by its very being creates outsiders, those who are outside the state, or the instincts of the state, i.e. the minorities within a state, they know far more objectively and usefully what they want from the state, whereas the indigenous people in a state really don't know what they want. And they are therefore easily manipulated or easily ridden roughshod over. So this is the essential meaning of this aphorism, but to get it, we need to look at the wider paragraph. And having said that, the aphorism was not written as an aphorism by Nietzsche, but is culled from that paragraph. And therefore the whole paragraph of that Greek state, the preface to the Greek state, must be read in order to understand that aphorism. And I think it is a very notable truth. And it works both ways. Those who subvert the state tend to be those who are outside the state. And again, I'm not talking about those who are literally outside the state, but they are outside the political instincts of the state, i.e. they are aliens, they are minorities, they are outsiders, etc. They are the ones able to subvert the state. But by the same token, we often notice that leaders of nationalist revivals, who are often obviously against aliens, many of those leaders are often those who are also outside the political instincts of the state. One thinks of the obvious example of Hitler, who was an Austrian, not a German. And so while he was a German Austrian, he was not a German German. And that slight twist of being slightly outside, we might see that today with someone like Tommy Robinson, who his critics accuse of not being British, but being Irish or whatever. Again, he is someone slightly outside the political instincts of the state, and therefore he is able to lead a certain aspect of opinion which furthers patriotism in a way that someone who is completely indigenous to the state can't do. So it seems that those who are completely indigenous to a state are unable to subvert, and they're also unable to lead a patriotic revival.